Normally, hitting a green in regulation is, the ultimate goal in professional golf. Like, that's what you want.
Right, exactly.
But this weekend here at Aronimink, landing your approach shot on one of these massive, like 800 square foot greens might actually be the worst mistake a player can make.
Oh, absolutely. It's a trap.
Welcome to a special, live from the ground, deep dive into moving day at the 108th PGA Championship. It is Saturday, May 16th, 2026. The sun is, well, it's finally breaking through the clouds over the Philadelphia suburbs, but honestly, this golf course is just starting to bare its teeth.
Yeah, it's getting dangerous out there.
Our mission for you today is to cut through all the broadcast noise and give you a premium analytics-driven breakdown of exactly what to expect this afternoon. Because, we're staring down a historic logjam right now.
We really are. It's almost unprecedented. If you look at the leaderboard right now, we have 15 players within 2 shots of the lead.
15? That's insane.
Right. That is the most congested top 15 at a midway point in the entire history of the PGA Championship.
So we have to ask why. Like, why is the leaderboard so stacked? And, why are so many elite players just totally struggling to separate themselves from the pack?
Well, it really comes down to this deliberate architectural counterattack on the modern professional game. What we are seeing out there is the direct result of Gil Hanse's restoration of this 1928 Donald Ross masterpiece.
Okay, break that down for us.
So the modern PGA Tour is completely dominated by this bomb-and-gouge approach, right? Players are just hitting it as far as humanly possible off the tee, and then they just wedge it out of the rough if they happen to miss the fairway.
Just totally overpowering it.
Exactly. But Hanse restored Aronimink in a way that completely neutralizes that raw power. It demands precision, trajectory control, and just extreme mental endurance. So the course is actively penalizing players who try to, muscle their way around.
I was thinking about this earlier. The first 2 days here felt like a heavyweight boxing match where everyone is just trying to survive those early jabs, right?
Yeah.
But today is where the knockout punches are actually thrown.
That's a great way to put it.
So before we look at who might actually charge up this incredibly crowded leaderboard today, let's look at the wreckage from the first 2 rounds. Because the contrast is just jarring. You've got this stacked leaderboard at the top, but the cut line to even survive the weekend was an absolute bloodbath.
Oh, it was a grueling Friday. The cut line officially fell at 4 over par, so that's 144, leaving exactly 82 players to fight it out this weekend. And, the casualties are staggering.
We're talking massive names just packing their bags early. Bryson DeChambeau, a guy who thrives on muscling the ball out of trouble, shot a shocking 76 on Thursday and missed the cut entirely.
Yeah, the rough just ate him alive.
And Matt Fitzpatrick, another major champion, he's out. But then, even the survival stories are wild, like Michael Block.
Oh, man, the cult hero from the 2023 PGA Championship.
Right. He practically missed the cut, yet his attitude remains just extraordinarily positive. He was walking off the course insisting this won't be his last major.
I gotta love the guy's spirit.
You really do. But I think the quote of the week, hands down, goes to world number 1, Scottie Scheffler.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that was something.
He ground out a 1/71 on Friday, looked visibly agitated out there, and he actually told the media the whole locations were the hardest set he's seen. He said it was bordering on kind of absurd for a tour event.
Look, when the absolute best ball striker on the planet calls the pins absurd, you really have to pay attention to that.
Right, but that's exactly where I want to push back a little. If the best player in the world is saying the setup is bordering on absurd, is the course actually bordering on unfair? Or are these modern pros just, so accustomed to soft, heavily watered resort courses that they aren't used to this level of historic Donald Ross-style punishment?
See, that is the defining debate of this entire championship right there. To really understand it, you have to look at the anatomy of an Aronimink green.
Okay, walk us through it.
On paper, these putting surfaces average around 8,100 square feet. That is a massive target. Like, hitting it sounds incredibly easy for a tour pro.
Sounds like you couldn't miss it if you tried.
Right. But Gil Hanse didn't just expand the greens. He restored the severe Ross spines that run right through the middle of them. And those spines, they effectively section each massive green into these tiny, distinct quadrants.
So it's essentially like a tiny green hidden inside a giant green.
Yes. And that is exactly where the architecture weaponizes a player's own shot against them. Hitting the green in regulation means absolutely nothing here if you land in the wrong quadrant.
Because of the slopes.
Exactly. If you miss your target by just, say, 3 yards, and you end up across a spine from the pin, you are suddenly facing a putt that might break 8 feet over a 20-foot distance.
Wow.
So it isn't unfair. It just requires a level of approach shot precision that modern players rarely have to actually execute. I mean, if you are on the wrong side of the spine, you are staring an automatic 3-putt right in the face.
Which perfectly explains why the field racked up over 123 putts in the first round alone. That's just wild.
It's brutal.
It's like you're aiming at a dartboard. But if you hit the outer ring, the dartboard actively throws your dart onto the floor.
That's pretty accurate.
But here is the thing. The pin locations were the dominant storyline yesterday. Today, the weather is stepping in to completely alter the mathematical equation for these guys.
The forecast is a game changer.
Let's look at it. We are seeing a temperature spike up to a high of 81 degrees Fahrenheit today, which is about 27 Celsius. The humidity is plummeting down to roughly 38 or 40%. And we've got these southwest winds blowing 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting up to 22.
I mean, that is a drastic, violent shift from the cool, damp, heavy conditions these players faced on Thursday and Friday mornings.
Okay, but wait, basic physics tells us that warmer air is less dense, right? So less air density means less aerodynamic drag on the golf ball. So shouldn't a guy like Minwoo Lee just be able to bypass all the trouble today? Shouldn't that extra, 3 to 5 yards of carry distance make this course easier for the pure bombers?
Well, on a flat, generic municipal course, sure, your physics are spot on. But here is the tactical paradox of Aronimink. Yes, the ball will physically fly further in the air today, but that low humidity, combined with the heat and the wind, is actively baking the moisture right out of the golf course.
Making it firm.
Super firm. These greens were already running at a blistering 13.5 on the stimp meter.
So they're putting on glass.
Pretty much. And as the course gets what the players call crusty, the fairways and greens begin to aggressively repel the golf ball. So stopping a wedge shot on a severe downslope becomes just a total nightmare.
So all that extra carry doesn't help.
Not at all. The extra carry distance in the air means nothing if the ball lands and immediately bounds 20 yards over the back of the green into the dense rough.
So it's not about how far it travels through the air. It's about the violence of the impact when it actually lands.
Precisely. Let's look at hole 11 as the prime example of this course management nightmare. It's a par 4 with a severe false front on the green. If a player hits a wedge in there with their normal high-spin aggressive swing, the ball will hit the green, grab the turf, and spin backward. And because of the angle of that false front, the ball will literally roll 50 yards back down the hill.
Wait, 50 yards backwards? That's humiliating. How do you even prevent that?
Well, to survive that hole today, players are going to have to actively take spin off their wedges.
How do you do that physically? I mean, a wedge is literally designed to spin.
They have to shallow out their swing path, take a wider stance, and practically stop their follow-through dead in its tracks. They have to hit these softer, lower-flighted shots that land and just go dead, rather than relying on spin to act as the brakes.
So they're basically swinging a 60-degree wedge like it's a stiff putter.
Yeah, pretty much. And it goes against every muscle memory instinct a modern tour pro has built.
That's fascinating. But if they are having to manufacture these unnatural, deadened wedge shots, how are they doing that while standing on the side of a hill? Because Aronimink is definitely not a flat piece of property.
Not even close. And this is where the biomechanics of playing this championship turn into a real physical grind. The course features 12% uphill gradients and 10% side hill gradients.
Wow.
Yeah, so when you are standing on a 10% side hill lie, your balance is entirely compromised.
Right, I mean, gravity is literally trying to pull you down the slope while you were trying to swing a metal club at 120 miles per hour. How are they not just falling over out there?
It requires intense management of ground reaction forces, or GRF. Players have to drastically alter their kinematic sequence.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. Kinematic sequence. You mean the actual biological order in which their body uncoils during the swing, right? Like hips first, then torso, then arms, then the club.
Exactly. On a flat lie, that sequence is mathematically optimized for power, but you cannot transfer your weight normally when your lead foot is significantly higher or lower than your trail foot.
Your body just fights it.
Right. Your brain gets confused about which muscles to recruit. It requires incredible core stability and major swing modifications just to make solid contact with the ball, let alone control your exact spin rate to the RPM.
And this is where the preparation technology absolutely fascinates me. I was reading about how players prepared for this specific tournament using modern analytics. Some of these guys were using the Zen Swing stage in their home simulators before even traveling to Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, that tech is incredible.
For those listening who haven't seen one, this is a mechanized hitting platform that replicates exact compound slopes with like 0.1% precision. You program it, and the floor beneath you literally tilts and locks into place to exactly match the slope of the 11th fairway at Aronimink.
It provides an unbelievable advantage over the players who just spent last week hitting off perfectly flat driving range mats. I mean, if you practice on a flat lie and then step onto a 12% incline in a major championship, your brain doesn't know how to recruit the right stabilization muscles.
It's totally unprepared.
Right. But the simulator trains the nervous system in advance.
Wait, so are we seeing a shift where the winner of a major championship might just be the guy who programmed his home simulator the best the week prior? Like, are we entering the matrix of golf where raw feel is just dead?
Well, it's a compelling thought, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
The technology provides the blueprint, sure, it trains the muscles, but executing that swing under the immense pressure of a major championship.
With a crowd watching.
Exactly. With a 20-mile-per-hour gust of wind right in your face and the Wanamaker Trophy on the line, that is a totally different beast. A mechanized simulator floor cannot replicate the adrenaline pumping through your veins when you have a downhill lie over a bunker.
Fair point. The human element still reigns supreme. And speaking of that human element, when you combine that intense mental math, the physical exhaustion of the side hill lies, and the baking weather, you get a massive pressure cooker.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's look at the actual humans stepping into that pressure today. Let's talk about the marquee pairings.
The tee sheet for moving day is just phenomenal.
Right out of the gate, at 11:00 a.m., we have what I'm calling the clash of the modern greats. Brooks Koepka and Rory McIlroy both sitting at 1 over par. Rory somehow bounced back with a flawless 67 yesterday.
Which is incredible.
And he did it while managing a severely painful blister under his right pinky toe. He actually had to switch to a significantly wider shoe just to physically walk the 18 holes.
It shows incredible grit from McIlroy. I mean, any alteration to your footwear changes your interaction with the ground, which alters that ground reaction force we just talked about. And then on the other side of that pairing, you have Brooks Koepka. What's fascinating about Koepka this week is his emotional state. He recently revealed the heartbreaking miscarriage that he and his wife suffered.
Yeah, that was tough to hear.
It really was. But he is playing with this vulnerability and emotional openness that we have never seen from him before. It's a massive shift from his usual, stoic, hyper-intimidating public persona.
It really is. It makes you root for him in a totally different, much more human way. Moving down the tee sheet to 1:07 p.m., we have the lurking favorite, Scottie Scheffler and David Puig.
Oh, man, Scheffler.
Yeah, Scheffler is sitting at 2 under par. And despite his frustration with the pins being absurd, the predictive data models say he is the most likely player to post a mid-60s score today.
Well, Scheffler's tee to green game is so historically dominant that if his putting merely stabilizes, like if he just putts to the exact field average, he is virtually unbeatable.
He doesn't even need to putt great. Just average.
Exactly. The predictive models love him today because the firmer and crustier the course gets, the more it rewards his elite iron striking precision. Soft courses equalize the field. Firm courses separate the legends from the pack.
And then the final pairing at 2:40 p.m. The co-leaders, Alex Smalley and Maverick McNealy, both sitting at 4 under par. Now, let me throw some stats at you.
Let's hear it.
Smalley is leading the entire field with plus 5.82 strokes gained putting. That means he is almost 6 strokes better than the average tour pro on the greens alone over 2 days.
That's incredible.
It is, but my issue with that is, isn't it statistically unsustainable on greens this fast and this sloped? Won't he inevitably regress to the mean today?
You are absolutely right to be skeptical. Gaining 6 strokes on the greens is a massive statistical outlier. Historically, players who rely entirely on a hot putter to hold the lead in a major championship, well, they eventually cool off.
And when the putter cools off, they fall hard.
Exactly. Because the elite ball striking isn't there to save them when they miss a green. And that is why Maverick McNealy might have the edge in this final pairing.
Why is that?
McNealy is known for his extreme analytical discipline. He grew up in the Silicon Valley ecosystem, played at Stanford. He plots his way around a golf course like a chess grandmaster analyzing a board.
So you won't get rattled.
Right. As the pressure mounts and the greens get crusty, that emotionless analytical discipline is exactly what you need to survive Aronimink.
But when you combine that intense demand for mathematical discipline with extreme physical exhaustion, you inevitably get frayed nerves. And that's exactly why we're seeing players snap under the pressure this week, leading to some truly bizarre incidents.
Bizarre is definitely the word for it. The tension is palpable out there.
Let's start with Garrick Higgo. He received a 2-shot penalty for being exactly 10 seconds late to the first tee.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. And his quote to the media was incredible. He said, "I was obviously there on time, but late." I mean, what does that even mean?
Well, it means he was lingering in the general vicinity, but he wasn't standing inside the designated teeing area when the starter called his name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at a major championship, the rules officials do not mess around with the clock. It is absolute.
Brutal. But that's just a procedural error. Then we had Jon Rahm's shocking moment on hole 7.
Oh, man, that was tough to watch.
He hits a poor shot. His frayed nerves take over. He takes a massive, angry practice swing and rips a giant divot out of the ground. And this chunk of turf flies through the air and literally hits an elderly volunteer right in the face.
It was an incredibly unfortunate accident. I mean, Rahm was visibly shaken by what happened. He immediately rushed over, apologized profusely to the volunteer, and promised a gift.
And no penalty was assessed for that, right?
Correct. The rules officials reviewed the footage and determined it was entirely accidental. There was no intent to cause harm or throw equipment, so it didn't violate the player code of conduct.
Makes sense.
But it perfectly illustrates how high the tension is running out there. The players are at their breaking point.
The players are at their breaking point, and the fans are absolutely feeding off it. We are in the Philadelphia suburbs, so you know we have the Philly loud crowd swarming this property.
Oh, yeah.
The energy is electric. I've seen fans walking around wearing these custom Grease the Greens crew neck sweaters, which, for those who don't know, is a hilarious nod to the city's tradition of greasing the streetlight poles during sports championships so rioting fans can't climb them.
It is a totally unique sports town. They bring a specific vocal intensity to a golf tournament that you just do not see anywhere else.
Absolutely. And it's not just the sheer volume of the crowd noise. The actual fan experience is totally modernized this year. Down at the 15th green, T-Mobile has set up this massive Club Magenta viewing space.
I saw that.
Yeah, they've blanketed the entire area in 5G connectivity, and fans are literally using an AI course companion on their phones. It helps them navigate the venue in real time, check live analytics for the players walking by, and even see heat maps of where the foot traffic flow is best.
It's wild to see thousands of people interacting with the physical course through an AI lens.
Speaking of staying connected to the action, whether you're using AI on the 15th green or listening to us right now, if you like the content, please subscribe to our channel. That helps us produce multiple podcasts every day and gives you the opportunity to stay connected with the PGA Championship, the Masters Championship, and major golf events throughout the entire year. If you have ideas for future content or topics you would like us to discuss, please send us a message. We'd love to create podcasts that match your interests and help build a strong golf community together.
It really is the best way to stay informed as the storylines of these massive tournaments unfold hour by hour.
Okay, so as we look toward the end of moving day, whoever is lucky enough or, statistically disciplined enough to be leading at the end of the afternoon, what exactly are they going to face in the final hours of sunlight?
They are going to face one of the most grueling closing stretches in major championship golf. I'm looking specifically at the 15th and the 18th holes.
The 15th is a beast.
Yeah, the 15th is a 546-yard par 4. That is monstrous.
546 yards for a par 4. Most local municipal courses would call that a par 5 and feel good about it.
Yes. And then, if you somehow survive that, you get to the 18th hole, which is a 490-yard par 4 that plays severely uphill to a terraced green.
Oh, that's just cruel.
It demands two of the absolute best, most biomechanically sound shots you will hit all week, right at the exact moment when your physical and mental exhaustion is at its absolute peak.
It's the equivalent of having to dodge a knockout punch in the 12th round when you can barely lift your arms.
Exactly. And that leads me to a final thought for you to mull over as you watch the broadcast this afternoon.
What's that?
Aronimink is proving something vital about the current state of professional golf. It is proving that the modern era of hyper-specialized bomb-and-gouge golf might be inherently flawed.
Flawed in what way?
Think about the progression of the sport over the last decade. We spent the last 10 years watching players chase swing speed above all else.
Right, it's all about ball speed.
But when you strip away the soft conditions, when you take away the wide-open resort setups, and you present a historically accurate, firm, and heavily sloped course, It completely exposes the specialists.
Because they only have one trick.
Exactly. The guys who only have one weapon, raw power, they're the ones who miss the cut on Friday. Aronimink rewards the complete adaptable golfer.
Shot makers.
Right, the player who can manipulate trajectory, intuitively control their spin rate, read subtle quadrants on a green, and just generally manage their own psychological breaking points. So as you watch Moving Day unfold, watch closely. See who is relying purely on the blunt force of raw power and who is relying on the artistry and adaptability of the game.
I love that. Artistry over raw power. Because, I mean, anyone can hit the ball hard when the lie is perfectly flat and the air is still. But it takes a complete player to deaden a wedge shot off a 12% side hill lie onto a crusty green running at a 13.5.
Absolutely.
Enjoy Moving Day, everyone. Watch those analytical decisions closely because the leaderboard is about to completely reshuffle. We'll talk to you next time on The Deep Dive.